So Stacy Davis Stanford says, I enjoy trying to paint an accurate picture of myself through words and images, and I have continued to update the page over the last 3 years as my life changed. This requirement is a preparation for life. And what you'll probably hear from Stacy is that she's been through hell, but she's never given up.
Hi, I hope you can all see me. I'm kind of short. My name is Stacy. I started at SLCC in 2004, actually, right out of high school, and did a couple general eds. And then I got a really, really great job, my dream job, right off the bat. I was like 18 years old and got my dream job. And so I went to work as a recreational therapist in an Alzheimer's hospital. And I spent a long time, 8 years or so, doing that, and moved to the top of my field and won awards, and I was fabulous in this job and felt really set in my life. And then was in a pretty horrific car accident, which I walked away from, but my doctors say triggered a degenerative brain disorder. And so my brain is dying slowly, and so is the rest of me. And so I was fired from my job shortly after I came in with a wheelchair and was really lost. And so I came back to school and picked up exactly where I left off. I actually repeated classes. I had no idea what to do with myself. So I picked up right where I left off. And so the first class I took was an American government class that was required, and we were told to set up this ePortfolio. And I was a little hesitant at first and overwhelmed with the technology, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing back at school, let alone to create this big page. But as I put it together, I started to answer my own questions, and especially the goals page. I really took a lot of time and stock into this goals page and made it way more than about school. And I added, physical goals, physical therapy goals, and I added personal goals, trying to find a way to support myself. I ended up starting a little online business because, being sick, I tried to find a way to support myself. And this all came from an ePortfolio assignment. But it gave me the idea to find a job online. It gave me the idea, to start doing some work on my physical health. And so this goals page became something really big. And then at the bottom of the goals page, there's the connection to the academic standards. Salt Lake Community College has these, I lose words sometimes with my brain, learning outcomes. And I have found that every single one of these learning outcomes connects to at least one class that I've taken. So you'll see that there's hyperlinks within that section, which link to different classes I've taken and different assignments, because this ePortfolio is just one big picture of 2+ years of education on 10 or so pages. As I move through, as the ePortfolio narrows, so it starts off as this really big picture. It started off really broad goals, learning outside the classroom, the resume, and then the coursework page started to come together. So there's this page where it lists all of the classes I've taken, which link to material from each class. So I'd like to highlight just a couple of those pages because I think some of these examples demonstrate pretty well. So my study of disabilities class is the first one I want to highlight. And this was kind of ironic. I had only been sick for less than a year when I signed up for this class and didn't even really consider myself disabled at that time. I didn't really own that word. I was still going to get better. I didn't know this was permanent at that time. I still thought that I'm just working to get better, everything's fine, but I took this study of disabilities class and started to learn about myself, and because of the ePortfolio, boosted my confidence in all things internet, is what I always say. And so I started to become a little bit more comfortable online and with web design and HTML, just basic things like that. And so for this study of disabilities class, for my big service learning project, since I'm sick and I have a hard time getting out of the house, I struggled to find a volunteer opportunity that I could do. And so I decided to go online and do my service learning online, and I created a website. I created a blog, which is showcased on here. There's a couple screen caps from different pages throughout my blog. And this has become something huge in my life. It started as a little project to put on my ePortfolio, and I now have an audience of 100,000 people who I talk to on a regular basis. I share my life, I share the experiences of other people, I share political things, I share, medical research, and it's become something really huge, which was triggered by an assignment from my American government class in 2011. The next page I want to highlight is, it was from a lifetime development class. I think it was under the FHS, a lifetime development class. And the assignment to go on the ePortfolio was like a self-reflection of yourself, past, present, and future. And it became kind of an interesting project for me because it became less about myself and more about what was going on with me and how that was going to turn into a career. And this assignment is really where I started to figure out what I wanted to do with myself. And so I'm writing about myself and talking about myself, but at the same time thinking big. And I start to realize that this blog I did last semester, I can combine with this project here. And so I start to put together this plan that I'm going to go into disability advocacy. And so after this assignment, now I've reached out with more political organizations, and I've started to work at the Capitol, and I've started to campaign for healthcare and things like that because of this assignment. And so that led to an interest in politics and opened up several politics classes. And this next page I want to showcase, it doesn't seem to quite fit with the rest. I have this disability theme that runs, and so in international politics might not seem to quite fit, but it was a really good example of how you can take something so broad like world politics and still apply it to an individual experience. I still was able to think, okay, how does this world politics apply to me and what I want to do for my career and what I want to do for my future? And this ePortfolio gives me a platform to take really big experiences and really big concepts and narrow them. And so I put together this project which got me thinking, okay, maybe more than just people with disabilities, there are other underprivileged people in the world. I could be an advocate for people who are hungry. I talk about famine and food crisis here is the topic I researched. And so through the class, obviously, but also especially through this particular project in the class, I'm able to keep a steady focus on where I'm headed. My goal in my future is to work as an advocate for underprivileged people. So assignment A, work to that goal. Assignment B, work to that goal. Assignment C, work to that goal, all in different ways. But this one website puts all the pieces together. And so I have this full puzzle that now, this is my last semester. Now I'm done. And so I'm applying for internships, and I can send a link that says, look at what I've done. And it's so much more than a resume. It's so much more than transcripts. My list of transcripts doesn't show anything. It shows that I failed a couple classes because I was in the hospital a lot. It shows that I got straight A's, but they don't know that that same semester I was bedridden and couldn't lift my head off of the pillow. It doesn't show that experience, but yet my reflection pages on this website, they do. These reflection pages become more personal. They tell my big picture story. And so I have one link that I can show to future employers, to when I'm applying for bachelor's programs, master's programs. I have this full page that shows a picture of who I am in my entire academic experience through one link. Thank you.